It's Friday, March 9th, 2017. From the Total Soccer Show, Dirty Tackle, and Howler magazine, this is The Goalmouth. I'm George Qureshi, and look, I tried to keep politics out of your soccer, but it's just so dang hard. There happen to be a lot of soccer stories today that intersect with politics. I'm sure that if I were taking my usual day, Wednesday, I could just talk about how boring Tuesday's Champions League matches were, but no, Ryan's mom doesn't have the internet, so you have to hear me talk about politics ruining this game we all love. So buckle up, because our first stop is Spain, where Sam Borden reports on a Ukrainian striker named Roman Zozulia, who recently went on loan from Real Betis to Rayo Vallecano. Now, Rayo's fans adhere to a deeply held leftist working class identity, which is fitting, I guess, if the other team in your town, one of the other teams, is Real Madrid and associated with Generalissimo Franco. And these fans of Vallecano, Rayo Vallecano, they understandably want nothing to do with a neo-Nazi playing for their team. So this new signing, he was photographed wearing the symbol of a Ukrainian neo-Nazi party. They've been protesting this guy since his first training session, and things got so bad that Zozulia decided to just go back and train with Betis. So he wasn't even going to play with the team that Betis loaned him to. The only problem is Zozulia is not a Nazi. He is not a Nazi. It was fake news, or at least a misinterpretation by several Spanish media outlets who confused the crest of a political party with the crest of Ukraine or something. There was a sword or not a sword. You have to read the story to figure it out. It's kind of confusing. Anyway, a false positive Nazi signing is like, it's no fun for anybody, because the person who thinks they saw a Nazi, they feel this swell of moral superiority because they've identified a real life Nazi, and then they suffer from the withdrawal of realizing the guy wasn't a Nazi after all. Meanwhile, the person identified as a Nazi is wrongly stigmatized as a Nazi. That's exactly what happened in this case. Oh, except the Rayo fans have suffered no such come down. They still think Zozulia is a Nazi, even though these stories have been debunked. I've been going on for too long about this fake Nazi story, so if you want to find out what happened, I encourage you to read Sam's story over at ESPN FC. There's a link, as you all know, in the email. But keep those seatbelts tight, because we are whooshing over to Israel, where, writes Dave Zirin of The Nation, a full 6 teams based on occupied Palestinian land are illegally competing in the Israeli League. This week, a whole bunch of human rights organizations, including Human Rights Watch and the UN Special Advisor on Sport for Development and Peace, have petitioned FIFA to take action. And Infantino did in a very similar circumstance 2 years ago, when, as the head of UEFA, he forbade clubs in Crimea, which had been illegally annexed by Russia, from participating in Russian competitions. So we'll see what happens in Israel. Okay, coming back home, there was an editorial published Thursday in the Washington Post with some thoughts on U.S. soccer's new national anthem policy. I know this because I wrote it myself. Here's what I wrote. This is a key paragraph, so you can decide if you want to keep reading it based on this. To me, the new policy isn't the story. Rapinoe was already violating a deeply ingrained custom. Now, continuing the protest would be officially breaking the rules, not just flouting norms. What interests me about the unanimous decision by U.S. Soccer's board of directors is that it verbalized a message that the soccer establishment has been sending to Black Americans for decades. This sport is not for you. So if you want to know why I think this, or if you want to leave a comment, hashtag MAGA, calling me an idiot like a bunch of people already have, you can head over to the link in the email. It's at WashingtonPost.com. Okay, well, that was fun, wasn't it? In lighter news, Grant Wall reports that the Galaxy is once again trying to lure Zlatan Ibrahimovic to LA on a free transfer this summer with an offer that would make him the highest paid player in league history. I support this. And now for all you hipsters and Manchester United fans, here is every score from the Europa League round of 16 first leg, ranked in order from least interesting juxtaposition of team names to most interesting juxtaposition of team names. Okay. Rostov 1, Manchester United 1. Copenhagen 2, Ajax 1. Schalke 1, Mönchengladbach 1. Lyon 4, Roma 2. This one I had a little bit of trouble with. I'm not sure, these two could be flipped. The next one is Celta 2, Krasnodar 1. Olympiacos 1, Besiktas 1, Apoel 0, Anderlecht 1, and the whole point of this exercise, Ghent 2, Genk 5. Finally, by popular demand, by which I mean one tweet from Matt French, I have been called upon to rule on whether Luis Suarez dove when he drew a penalty kick in Barcelona's miraculous comeback on Wednesday, and my verdict is, he probably did, and I could tell you that without even looking at the play. However, because Suarez is one of my favorite players, I did look again at the play, and my conclusion is the same. He probably dove, but with the caveat that it was pretty clumsy defending and probably a foul anyway by the PSG defender. Personally, the foul on Neymar that led to a penalty seemed to me a lot more suspect. But the really interesting question about that Barcelona-PSG match is not whether Suarez dove, but what would have happened if the game were allowed to continue. And lucky for us, Brooks has written, Brooks from Monday, he has written a piece over at whatahowler.com answering that very question. So I end today by delivering this minute-by-minute account of what would have happened if the game had been allowed to continue. Here we go. 97th minute, PSG's Layvin Kurzawa suddenly regrets scoring an own goal in the 40th minute just for the hell of it. 101, one of Neymar's critics turns to a friend and says, if he really was great, he would have completed the hat-trick. 102, Neymar completes his hat-trick. The aforementioned critic shakes his head and says, of course he does it now that they're already winning. So overrated. 109, Luis Enrique hopes this is enough to make everyone forget when he accidentally announced that he's leaving the club the other day. 114, every deity from Zeus to the flying spaghetti monster descends from the heavens, not only proving their existence to skeptics, but revealing themselves to be Barcelona fans willing to do anything to please their beloved equal, Andres Iniesta. 115, Barca fans are so happy that they forget to jeer Andre Gomes. 117, Luis Suarez dives in the box as he writhes in supposed pain. Gerard Piqué whispers, "We're winning now. You don't have to do that anymore." Suarez nods and apologizes to everyone around him for the confusion. 120. Frustrated by this turn of events, PSG's owners, the Qatar Investment Authority, announced that all 2022 World Cup stadium projects will be converted into the world's largest Jamba Juice locations. 125. The Spanish government launches a criminal investigation into Barcelona, citing the club's comeback as a strange new method of committing tax fraud. 131. Liverpool congratulate Barca on providing them with an opportunity to remind everyone of the time they came back from 3-0 down against Milan, which was in the Champions League final, unlike this, which is merely the round of 16. 136. The PSG players hold a seance in the middle of the pitch to try and summon Zlatan back to save them. 140. Leo Messi wonders if he's dreaming, but decides that this must be real life since everything around him isn't made out of Lego pieces and it's not raining ice cream. 142. Piqué humps the goalpost. 143. Inspired by Barcelona's achievement of the impossible, NASA lands a human being on Mars after just 10 minutes of formal preparation. 144, the polar ice caps spontaneously regenerate. 145, the true meaning of life is discovered. 146, world peace is achieved. 147, the match is abandoned when PSG evaporate into a mist of previously unthinkable embarrassment. My name is George Qureshi. Taylor Rockwell. He will not be with you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday. You'll have Brooks on Monday. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter where you can click out to all the stories I've mentioned on this podcast. The link to sign up is in the show notes. And I leave you with today's Goalmouth top tip. I don't always read fake news, but when I do, it's usually written by Brooks Peck at whatahowler.com. Love to your mothers. See you next time.